Are you a business looking for a fresh new way to reach potential customers? Well, you need to get airtime on IT TV, a 24/7 streaming and on-demand TV service online and on Roku. With Roku having a potential reach of 62 million people, it's a perfect opportunity to reach potential customers through affordable commercial and infomercial spots. Visit us online today at itnetwork.tv.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and thank you for joining us on another episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie, and this is going to be an amazing show, and I know it's going to be great, especially since I had an opportunity to talk to today's guest backstage. We're going to see how this conversation goes, but this is only one of 3 shows we're doing for this holiday Thanksgiving week. I know everybody's in vacation mode, and they are ready to party. So what I ask is for you to go ahead and introduce the show to your friends and your network. And while you're introducing the show to your network, I'll go ahead and introduce our first guest. And you have seen this young man on the show plenty of times with well over 300 episodes. I think he's been on not 300 of them, but quite a few. Mr. Sanju Ganglani. Sir Sanju is the founder and CEO, is a quintessential entrepreneur and an expert in marketing. He is instructed in the philosophy of success. He knows very well how much dedication and effort it takes to turn a business that is starting into a successful one. Good morning, Sanju. How are you?
I am amazing. I'm happy to be here. It's great. It's Monday morning.
Yes, it is. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. But for those people who do not tune in to the Roundtable Talk Show and the people who don't know who you are, it's such a shame because they should tune in more often.
I agree.
But let them know who you are, what you do, and what you're passionate about.
Sure. I'm Sanju Ganglani. I own a digital marketing agency called Gang&lani Media, G&L Media, however you want to say it. We go by a few different names. We are a global digital marketing agency. We service everything end to end. So, we have people walk through the door who have ideas and just don't know what to do with it from that point. We kind of help them through that process. And then we work with larger, more established companies as well, from everything from brand refreshes to helping them do some lead generation and growing their social media presence. We're won a few awards in those areas on the SEO side of it, on the social media side of it. So it's doing what we love to do because, everyone that kind of is part of the team is an entrepreneur at heart. So we love working with companies that are starting to grow and treating them as our own so we can kind of be part of that growth and part of that excitement while bringing the wisdom and the knowledge that we need to ensure that they're successful long term.
Wow. I have plenty of questions for you, Sanju, but I want to go ahead and introduce our very next guest, Mr. Vladimir Gendelman. Vladimir is the founder and CEO of Company Folders, winner of multiple awards, including making Inc.'s list of 5,000 fastest growing private companies in America for 3 consecutive years. He's a thought leader in business marketing, publishing numerous articles in major publications, including Forbes and Time. Good morning, Vladimir. How are you?
Well, good morning. I'm doing amazing. Monday morning. This is a Thanksgiving weekend, and I fortunately have a lot to be thankful for, including being on the show with you.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself, who you are, what you do, and what you're passionate about.
Well, as you already mentioned, my name is Vladimir Gendelman. I am the founder and CEO of Company Folders, which is a printing boutique for presentation folders, binders, and envelopes. And really, how the whole thing started is interesting part is I was born and raised in the Soviet Union during communism, of course, and in Soviet Union, options were just non-existent. So when I came to America, right, I see nothing but options. You go to the store and there are 73 different cheeses and God knows how many salamis, and you go to people's houses and everybody has different furniture, different clothing, different cutlery, different everything. And in Russia, it wasn't like that. It was, you go to people's houses and you see one of 3 different wallpapers that exist. Everybody has the same silverware. Everybody has one of, 5 different pieces of clothing you can wear, and so on and so forth, right? And I remember thinking back in Russia that with the structure we had, there was no way to differentiate yourself. So I come to America, and America is the dream. There are options for everything. So back in the day, I was running a computer repair company and networking company. And one of my clients asked me if I can do a company folder, help him find one that's really good. And I'm like, of course, like, how hard is it, right? It was 2003, internet was at full swing, and I can do that. So I go online and I start looking, and I realize that, oh my God, there really is no options in the presentation folder space. Yeah, they had some really standard, very limited amount of options. And that's when the whole Soviet Union came up in my mind. And it just reminded me of that lack of options, that scarcity of everything. And that's really how Company Folders was born. So you asked for my passion. My passion is to really give people options so that they can present themselves and their company in the way they really want to do that, as opposed to worry about whether I'm going to do this option or that option.
Wow, I love it. And we have 2 guests today, but one of the things that I always see, we'll have to ask Sanju if he sees the same thing, is that it's always similarities. And one of the things Vladimir talks about is options and options. But Sanju, in Ask Us for Anything, that's one of the things that to a certain extent you specialize in, is giving people options, correct?
It's the whole premise of the business, right? Is that we're not doing cookie cutter, templated, standard stuff. It's very much an environment that's more creative, that has, if you want to change the design of something, you want a specific thing made, you want a website to look an exact way, we can make it look that way. And, it's like Sharifah, Vladimir, it's almost the same foundation of the business, which is fully custom. We rarely say no. Obviously, unless it's illegal, and we kind of find ways to make things work so that people can see their vision, their dreams come to reality.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Do you ever get concerned about the whole idea of Ask Us for Anything? I mean, that seems, from a marketing perspective, from a branding perspective, one of the things people tell you is, be specific. Anything, I could come to you and say, Sanju, can you bring me the moon? Because that is something.
I better call it Bezos then. I'm going to hop on that one.
See, he has the solution right there.
Right, there you go. It's interesting because we get crazy requests sometimes. And, what's been kind of cool is through our networks, or by meeting and discovering new networks, we're actually able to source things or find things for people. We've done things like weddings in India. Like, I have zero experience with that. We pulled that whole thing off. We've done events for up to 10, 20,000 people. We've done so much random stuff. We've built MLM systems that people said couldn't be coded and made, and, took us a little while, but we got it made. So, and that comes from when I started my first company, which was a web development company back when, you'd open Notepad and start to code. Literally, I would give the client a piece of paper and say, draw exactly what you want and I'll bring it to life. And, so that whole, the whole passion and the whole challenge of taking something that people say are impossible, or people not understanding or knowing are possible, and presenting it and giving to them is, just, it's part of the fun of it. I mean, Vladimir, I'm sure you have crazy stories too of requests and designs and things, right, that people would like to see done.
Vladimir, what are some of your crazy requests?
So when people ask for crazy stuff, it's not as bad as when people ask for crazy stuff and then you kind of tell them what needs to happen, for it to take place. And they say, no, that's not how I want it. And the story that comes to mind, so we're talking about probably year 2009 or 10. So figure 10 years ago, 12. And this woman calls me from New York, and she wants to put together a presentation folder and a envelope that the presentation folder would go into, right, for mailing. And she specifically says that her number one goal is to get Donald Trump's company as a customer. She owned a construction company, and I think their specialty was in painting. Her logo was this guy standing on the ladder with the paintbrush, right? And she wanted to get Trump's construction business. Great. So she sends me the design that she wants to print, and it's horrific. And I explained to her that there is a lot going on here. There is no focus, it's way too much. And on top of it, the logo on the folder and the envelope is low resolution logo, so it will never print well, right? And the one thing we do know about Donald Trump from all the Apprentice shows and everything else, and mind you, this is 2010, right? So he's not a president. There is no political movement, nothing. He's just this huge businessman, right, with the show and popular figure and everything else. And I tell her that, we know that he loves luxury, right? And he likes things to be done right. So you only have one chance. And I tell her that we can actually make her design very nice. It will probably cost whatever, couple $100. And she's already spending, she ordered a lot of folders and envelopes. So it was like a $5,000 or $6,000 order. So the design charge wasn't even significant. And she's like, nope, I like my design the way it is.
Oh, wow.
So we printed that. And I honestly don't know. I never had a correspondence with her. I tried reaching out, but she never responded. So I don't know if she ever got that job or not. But to me, that's definitely crazy. You have a goal. You have a professional who tells you exactly how to get there. But you say, nope, I like it the way I do it.
No, I like that. But what's interesting to me is, first of all, from the technical perspective, the low res, high res, that should have been a no-brainer one way or another. But in design and creating, because, my background started with website design. I designed my first website in 1994. And it's the creative aspect of, what you like may not be what I like, and what I like may not be what Sanju likes. But for her not to even listen to the technical aspects of what you said, that just blows me away.
So the one thing I did though, on the specific logo, without even letting her know, I recreated her logo in vector so that it prints well. I cannot put out a product that would print like that. So obviously I didn't charge her for that, but I just, because I printed it, I really had to make sure that at the very least, technically everything is correct.
Yeah, because your name and your reputation is on the line.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely.
Have you ever had an experience like that, Sanju, where you're trying to tell the customer this is the way to go, and they're like, absolutely not?
All day long. I'm blessed in the sense that I've reached a point now where, we can kind of tell which clients aren't going to be a fit in advance. Just, it's not even a budget thing. Like, we'll work with low budgets. We don't care. But what we look for is potential. And what we look for is the trust. And, there's certain people that just, that what you're doing is not best for them, is not best for their business, or is not going to get them the results they want. So we personally, we just tend to walk away and we're like, you know what, here's somebody else that may be able to do it the way you'd like to do it. But if you want to get the results that we know we can get you, then this is what we need to get there. And, you have both sides, like Vladimir said, the ones that are just, blinders on and nope, this is the way I want it and this is the way it's going to work. And unfortunately, it doesn't always work out. And the other ones that, when you're able to explain the logic behind it or help them understand why, there's a real turnaround and acceptance of, why what you're doing is correct. So I think being able to call that stuff out early is important. I know on the print side, it's a little different because you don't necessarily know until you get that design file or you get that list of demands from them. And it's kind of like, no, right? But you're so far in, you've invested so much time and energy, you bought the materials, whatever it is, that it's tough to just kind of walk away at that point, right? So, yeah, I mean, we got stories, like stories on stories. People who will take high performing websites that we create for them, and a year later, just sheer ego, go change it, and their business drops off the face of the earth. Things like that. It's yeah. Rendered you speechless.
Information, so much information, because I'm gonna go back to the business dropping off for the face of the earth, but I cannot gloss over the gold that you gave us. And when I speak to top business owners, they get this, but people who are just starting out, maybe new entrepreneurs, they don't understand just the ability to say, well, maybe we're not a good fit. Did that take years for you to learn, or was that something that you just have always done?
No, I mean, when you're building a business, the first 3-4 years, you take what you get, right? I mean, but then at that point, it's your mindset of how you look at it. Are you looking at it as to learn from it, or are you looking at it because you got to pay the bill next month, right? And the way that we kind of approached it was, we will take on clients at that point that maybe weren't the best fit, but to learn why they weren't the best fit, or to figure out how to service them in a way that they understood where we were going with things, right? And kind of practice and understand with that, and 9 times out of 10, if it really wasn't a good fit, even if we did the work, I would just refund the retainer. It was fine, right? I took it as a lesson that we had to learn to grow in the future. So yeah, it blows people's minds when I go, I'm sorry, I don't think it's a fit, and they think they're throwing a lot of cash at us, but it's not about that. It's about having a weekend, or having that peace of mind at night, or not looking at when they call or email and you're going, oh, why, we'd rather not have that. We have other things we focus on, and the time that we do have, we'd rather focus it back on the community.
Yes. Vladimir, have you had that experience, or, are you one of those people that says, well, maybe you're just not a good fit?
So, few things on that. We have sometimes people come to us and say, little story. We are a high-end printer, right? And our focus is on companies who really care about their brand image. And for that reason, our print is great, our foil stamping is great, our die cutting is very straight, no little things sticking out anywhere. Our folding is right on point, where, with presentation folders, gluing and folding sometimes is an issue. And a lot of times when you get samples from other companies, the pockets could come unglued, and the die cutting part is not straight to where both sides don't match properly. And sometimes we get people tell us, oh, I can get the same thing for less money at this place or that place. And we try to explain that, yes, while you're still getting a presentation folder, and yes, it's less money, it's not necessarily the same product, right? Because at the end of the day, the purpose for a presentation folder, right? Because presentation folder is really not a marketing material. It's more like a packaging for the marketing material that's inside of it. And the goal of the presentation folder is to get people excited of what might be inside. And it also is a way to present your brand to the people and have that first impression, right? Before they actually see your actual marketing material that explains what you do and how you do it. So with that said, we had a lot of instances where people would tell us, yeah, we're just going to do it here or there for less money. And we try to explain, but they still want to do that, so that's fine. And then a lot of times those people will call us back a month later and be like, I'm really sorry, really feel bad about it. We got it from that place. Now we want to do it right. And we go ahead and redo the job for them. I actually, to our previous conversation, I just received an email a few minutes ago from a customer. The email actually came from Google, from the reviews. And particularly what this review says is nice company to do business with, prompt communication, and they try to get things right before execution of a job, which is 100% what we talked about in the previous conversation, right? That all the problems that will come up later could always be taken care of upfront. It just requires a little bit more time, a little bit more attention to detail, and it's always done right.
Mhm.
Agreed.
So you watch your Google reviews, they give you some type of feedback or idea on how you're performing.
Absolutely. I'm personally on top of all of them. And we're extremely fortunate. I'm actually looking it up right now to tell you the exact number. We have 122 reviews, and the average is 5 stars.
Congrats,
Wow.
man. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The average is 5 stars. Do you have any tips, strategies, guidelines on how you get the average to be 5 stars or how?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm learning.
Be amazing.
Okay.
It's really the bottom line is, right? So what are people looking for when they work with a company? It's really the mindset of what can I do for the customer? And yes, they come here for a product, and the product they get or the service they get has to be absolutely incredible, because otherwise nothing else matters, right? But once that is in place, it is also really important to have really good communication with the customer, to have a prompt communication, to not make them wait, and to communicate everything that is going on, because nobody likes surprises unless they're pleasant. And with that said, that's what we do. We over communicate on we try to over communicate on everything, so that people know exactly where their job is, what's going on, what kind of information we need, do the right follow-ups to make sure that, if a customer forgets to submit something, technically it's on them, and you can tell them, hey, your job was late because you were late. But at the end of the day, our job is to get it to you on time. And if we have to manage your time as well and remind you a couple of times to send us a piece of artwork or whatever else we need, we're going to do that. Because at the end of the day, I want to be sure that you get what you need. And if it requires more work from us, we're going to do that. And also be professional and think of what is the most convenient thing for the customer, not us. We'll jump through hoops, right, to make it work for you, as long as it works for the customer first and foremost.
I like that. And in my experience, I've learned as well that more people get mad at the lack of communication than anything else. Sometimes things happen, things are late, there are errors, there are issues, but if you don't communicate those to the customer, then they're sitting wondering what happened, and then they start to go out and give these bad reviews and bad service. What are some of the things that you've learned through your reviews, Sanju?
Just like Vladimir, we're awesome. It's kind of like you said, it's very cool when you get different people on an episode and things align, because like Vladimir, we're very, very heavily customer driven and client driven. And the analogy I usually give potential new clients or people who walk into the office and go, what's going on here, is you'll literally see the different departments arguing with each other. SEO guy will turn around and go to the website person, will turn around and go to the social media person, but they're arguing because of what they're trying to determine is what's best for the actual customer and the client, what's going to give them that success. So what they're debating is, new findings, strategies and things to move the needle on an account. It doesn't, we don't do things from a place of ego. So it doesn't come from I'm right and that's it. It's okay, well, this is what I know and what I see, and then taking everybody else's feedback and figuring out how to make it work in a way that'll deliver the results that we're looking for. And again, like Vladimir, like you said, it's over communicate with clients, right? Whether it's people who already kind of know the drill, they've been with you for 5-6 years, or it's net new clients. It's making them understand, what is happening, why it's happening, and especially when things aren't necessarily going too well, that letting them know that you've caught it and this is what you're doing to fix it. Because strategies change, digital marketing changes, like the wind, so to speak. So, every time something new drops, we need to be prepared and on top of it. And we need to let our clients know, which we do, that's happened, and this is how we're combating it or ensuring that they don't lose their investment until that point. So, customer driven is very important to us. A lot of that, it's kind of funny, it was driven into me when I used to work retail back when I was going to school and I was working at the same time, and I worked at a very high-end men's store. Similar to kind of like a Neiman, but a little bit more boutique-y. And that's where, I would see people walk through the door with, cashmere coats that were 13 years old, full of cat hair, and we'd just take it back and say, no problem.
Oh, wow.
You'd have clients walk in with, Armani suits that they've obviously worn, like $5,000-$6,000 suits. And they're like, I don't like it anymore. We take it back. Being able to, learning levels of customer service that, when a client is coming in or someone's coming to see you for an appointment, how do you handle that process? And how do you learn to listen? And how do you learn to service them? And how do you learn to give them that extra level of comfort almost, right? Because as much as you want to say it's a relationship, which it is, it's more of a friendship that you need to develop. And it's more of a trust that has to be developed, in order to kind of maintain and keep growing. So, and it's kind of funny, I've always said, and we've had this in the past, you'll always have clients that don't like you, but if they trust you, you'll be, you'll be okay. They'll be okay with you at all times. So, it's really coming back and speaking to the results and ensuring that, again, it's being communicated and it's being worked on constantly, for their best interest.
I like that.
Yeah, and taking care of problems, Sanju, is a really good point there.
Accountability.
So the common thing in printing business is customer receives their order, and they typically get 7 to 10 days to inspect their job in case something is wrong. And at that point, they communicate back with the printer, and the printer says, oh, okay, so we'll refund you, reprint it, however it works, right? So we obviously had the same policy just like everybody else's. We had 2 weeks instead of 1 week. And one day, this must have been probably, I would say, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, something along those lines. We receive an email from a customer who says, I ordered this foil stamped folders from you, 7 or 8 months ago. And as we were going through that, it turned out that 5 of them, the actual foil stamp was crooked to the side. I understand that there is nothing you can do for me at this point because it's been so long, but I wanted to let you know that it could happen. So right away, I grabbed the phone, called the customer, apologized for that, and I said, you know what, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it for you. And I reprinted 100 folders, right? So 5 were crooked. I reprinted 100 and sent it to him. And obviously the customer was very happy, appreciative, multiple reorders after that. But that got us thinking here, well, is it fair for us to expect that when a customer gets an order of, 5,000 or 10,000 folders, to inspect them all in 2 weeks? No, I would not want to do that myself. So why would I want somebody else to do that, right? So we changed our policy and we said, now you're going to have 1 year. And you go through your folders like you normally do, using them, right? And if there is 1, 2, or 10 that somehow something happened, right? Got misprinted, misfolded, whatever, just put them to the side. And when you're done, communicate it to us. And, then we can figure out whether we give you the credit on the next job. If you need to reorder, we'll give you the refund. We'll reprint it for you, whatever, works. So we did that. And then sometime later, we thought about it and we said, well, what if people take 2 years to go through folders? Why is it only 1 year? So we changed it, and now it's a lifetime warranty on our products that we offer. And as far as I know, we're the only printing company, at least in America, that offers lifetime warranty on paper printed products.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It is, but it's not only about the refund policy, or the policy is about the willingness to change and how we learn from our mistakes. I want to discuss that a little bit further, but right now we are going to stop for a brief commercial break.
I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really really needed
a good business consultant.
And I kept searching
and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
but I finally did it.
Yes. Thank you.
If you are looking for one as well,
Look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend.
Problem gone.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kimberly Cloud. I have Wigs for Success Incorporated, which deals with men and women of all races, of all genders, with alopecia, cancer, and other debilitating illnesses. If you would like to know more about my nonprofit organization and why I chose to do it, you can reach me at 443-240-7353. If you would also like to donate, you can reach me at wigsforsuccessincorporated.com. Thank you.
Yes, ask us for anything. That is wonderful. I love it, Sanju. I love every. I didn't even know you offered public relations. Is that a new service?
No, it's something we do. I mean, it's not a consistent thing. It's sort of as people or clients ask for it, we kind of are able to step in and assist. And it depends on what level they're looking for. If it's something that we don't have the connections into, we'll refer it out to people that we do know in the industry. But no, I mean, PR is fun, right? It's being able to get out there, get content out there, which kind of helps. It's a natural tie into your SEO strategy. It's a natural tie into your content marketing strategy. Being able to get onto podcasts and talk to really cool people like Vladimir and yourself, and so we love kind of making those connections for people and helping them get the exposure they need. And also kind of helps them establish themselves as thought leaders or as experts in the industry, and give them that little bit of edge when they're walking into larger accounts or newer accounts that they're trying to bring some credibility with them or some background with them. And it's kind of fun because we'll have a lot of clients either come to us, or I'll have a lot of people come into us and say, oh, I watched your videos. Oh, I read all your articles. Or, people go to our clients and say, oh, we saw you on XYZ, and that's why we're coming to you. So, PR it's an interesting one, right? And it's one of those ones that really does work. It just does take a little bit of time and consistency to get there.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever changed or modified any of your company policies based on customer feedback, or your thoughts based on, something you've done with the customer?
My customer policy since day one has been 0 questions. We don't have contracts. I refuse to have contracts. To me, the mindset is, if you're not willing or happy to work with me, then why am I going to drag you for another 3-6 months and annoy both of us? So I'd rather, give me a respectable 30-60-day notice, and that's just, we'll help you transition. We don't hold things hostage. We don't do any of that nonsense. It's, what, if you're not happy, it's okay. Here's your stuff, and let's get you on your way. So our mindset's not really ever changed. Have we been burnt a few times here and there? Yeah, it happens. There's always going to be those people, but I'd say 97%, 98% of it is always been smooth and easy with all of us. So, and it also helps our retention rates, right? Like, we rarely lose clients. Like, if we do, it's either they've moved the country, or through COVID, obviously, people lost their budgets. But other than that, our retention rates, it's pretty awesome, because again, we bring you in, we offer everything end to end, and we're able to actually create one holistic strategy and see it through, right? And then the other part that's kind of fun with us on that end is that, it's not, here's your strategy and we're only going to stick to the strategy no matter what. It's we're able to kind of look at it month over month, week over week, and as we go, pivot and change and adjust, so that it's always relevant and what you're doing is always going to be working. And I think that's very important, and people don't realize that you can't hold a paid ad strategy for 3 months because algorithms change, keywords change, intent changes. And if you're still trying to push ads out or SEO out for things that were relevant 3-6 months ago, you're literally throwing money out the window.
I find that interesting. Now, Vladimir, do you work with your clients as far as strategy, or you just print whatever they send?
So a few things. I want to address what Sanju said, first of all, where Sanju said that, we were burned a few times, but 97-98% of our customers do the right thing. So there is a guy by the name of John DeJulius, and he's out in Cleveland, and he is the author of the book called Customer Service Revolution. I'm sure you came across that book before. Amazing book. So what he says, and the way he puts it, is he says, do not punish 99% of your clients based on what 1% might do. And that's exactly what Sanju said, which is great philosophy, Sanju. And the same philosophy, we instituted the lifetime warranty, right?
Yeah, same difference. Yeah.
Exactly, because there might come a time where, 2 years later, if people didn't use their folders, they could say, oh, well, we don't really need them anymore, so let's come up with the reason and get our money back. But once again, I'm not going to hold it against everybody that 1 or 2 people might do something like that. And talking about the strategy versus being a product, so we are a product company, and our product is the product we sell, right? However, I do what's called a design consultation with people. And this, originally, the point was for people to call in, or we use Zoom a lot, and say, hey, so I'm looking for this folder. I'm just trying to understand what is the better way to design it, this and that. And I would just answer those questions. But very quickly, I realized that I actually need to truly understand what their purpose is, to give them better advice. And from there, I also realized that sometimes people don't truly understand the purpose they're going for. So that's where we start talking a little bit about the strategy. I can't really advise them on a strategy overall for their marketing, but at the very least, the strategy of using the folder, and where in some cases it might or might not make sense to do. So yes, we do a little bit of that.
Now, one of the things, it's so much, this is a very interesting conversation, and forgive me, Vladimir, because when I looked at your bio and I said, oh, he makes folders, what is interesting about folders? But you are on, what is it? The Inc.'s list of 5,000 fastest growing private companies in America for 3 consecutive years with just folders. How do you continue to grow and expand and continue to do the things that do you get like bored with folders? Do you look for other ideas? How do you keep inspired?
That's a great question. Folders is what we sell, but that's not what I do. What I do is I provide people with options to present their brand in the best way possible. And as being premium printer in the presentation folder space, there is nobody else who can do a better job for the customer. And that is what really exciting for me. And that is what I go to work for every day.
I like that answer. That was a great answer. It might have been a great question, but that was definitely a great answer. What do you think of that answer, Sanju?
You're on point, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I tried to be.
How do you stay inspired, Sanju?
I think our inspiration comes from the excitement that we see when clients grow. So that's one part of it. The other part that keeps me inspired personally is the work that we do with new entrepreneurs, with youth, and with people that have ideas or have a passion or a drive to actually build their own. And through those is sort of where we keep learning new things. We keep understanding how the world and the marketplace is evolving, and we're also able to kind of go back out and help people grow their and build their businesses. So I think having that balance of the two things of having the side of business that is the business, and you got to do what you got to do there, but then having the flexibility and the freedom to work with people that may not even have budgets, but just being able to see them put together plans, put together strategies, and then help them execute on it. It's sort of, I think, what keeps me personally motivated and keeps me, always passionate about what we're doing, right? It's almost like a means to an end in a sense, right? And I think I've said this before, where if we're up to me, honestly, all my services would just be pro bono, right? That's we're truly doing it for the love of marketing and the love of growth and helping people see their potential and get to their potential.
Well, if you want another pro bono case, come on over to Ask Sharifah, or we'll gladly be one of your little test guinea pigs. But I always tell people this, and this is one of those funny, weird things about me that the people who know me know, is that I am not a DIY person in any form of fashion. I don't believe in DIY. I believe in hiring professionals. But I think because of the economy and where we are, there are so many people who believe that they can just DIY a website. Okay, well, maybe they can do the little WYSIWYG and create the website. But SEO, to me, you need a professional. You need someone who understands the intricacies of what links to what and what tags and what metadata, and because you mentioned something earlier that, again, didn't want to gloss over, the aspect of you designed this website, you built it, you gotten it up, and then they make a few changes and all of a sudden it disappears off of the face of this earth because they don't know what they're affecting when they're making changes to the website. What are your thoughts, Sanju?
I think that happens a lot more than often. So two things. Number one, your DIY economy or mindset is very real. It's almost to the point that in my mind, the traditional smaller agency has got maybe another 5-10 years on it before those sort of fade away and don't have as much relevance or foothold in the marketplace. That's, again, my personal opinion, just based on the fact that, like you said, you can build a website, you can call Google and get help. You can have all these resources at your disposal to try to go at it yourself. Will your results be the same? Probably not, like you said. But again, it's a very real threat to the industry in that sense. In terms of clients changing strategies, a lot of the times what will happen is either they're bought out or they run low on funds, or the key resource that was managing it leaves them. And the person who assumes it, which most times ends up being an executive level or owner, doesn't necessarily understand what they're looking at. So they kind of go in with a whole new strategy and a whole new mindset, look at a retainer and go, I'm not paying that anymore. I could do this in-house. And kind of, we part ways and they go do their thing. But, as you go back and monitor the new strategy is almost always based on their personal preference, what they would buy, how they would word it, and trying to cut corners and find services or tools that, though they are very good at marketing themselves and showing them as your godsend, actually do more damage to domains, do more damage to your reputation, and actually put you in a bit of a mess, where in a few months, or if you catch it, to unwind all that actually costs you more than if you just stayed the path.
Right. Especially one of the things that I notice, especially with the links and backlinks to the website, they don't know with the pages what's already out there and has achieved search engine optimization. And then they change that link, or they change that title, or they change that description, and all of a sudden it just disappears. Or
they just stop doing it altogether, right? And people, we always make it very clear to people in the beginning is SEO is like insurance. You got to keep doing it. The moment you stop, after a few months, you pretty much lose all that investment, right? So, having that transparency and having people understand that it's a long-term game, and then, like I said, switching a mindset or a strategy out of not wanting to ask the right questions. I'm trying to put this nicely. Is sort of what kind of leads to that downfall a little bit.
What do you see in the DIY economy, Vladimir?
Well, first of all, I would actually add to what Sanju said on the SEO part. Sanju said it's like insurance, you have to keep on doing it. I would actually say that SEO is like taking a shower. It doesn't last, so you have to keep on doing it all the time.
I like
that.
But I'll start my answer by telling you a joke. So this woman had a gathering at her house, and she's a really, really good cook. So she invited a lot of people, and among those people was a photographer. And the photographer came in with the album of his photographs. And, during the dinner, he was showing his photographs to people around him and everything. And the woman came over and she looked at the photographs. She's like, "Oh my God, your photographs are amazing. You must have a really expensive camera." He didn't say anything. But when he was leaving, in the door, he looked at the woman. He said, "Thank you so much for inviting me. Everything was delicious. You must have very expensive pots and pans."
Oh, wow. Ooh, I like that.
Well played.
Right.
So,
I love it.
So with that said, what a lot of people are missing is that just because you have an iPhone that can take a photograph, that does not make you a photographer.
Yes.
Just because you can download and install Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, or better yet, use some online program, I don't even know what they're called because you can't really use most of them for printing anyways, doesn't make you a designer either. And we have, sometimes people send us design that they created themselves and they have no clue what they're doing, right? Other than they can technically put a picture or a logo on the template, right? And a lot of times it would not be enough resolution, or it would not be vector, or it would be rough around the edges, which you cannot use for foil stamping, and on and on and on. So usually in those cases, we try and consult with people and we try to offer them the professional design service, right? And some people get it and some people do not. And especially when you're talking about a smaller company, that, especially if you're talking to the owner, sometimes on a smaller level, they don't see the value of spending extra $100 just to make sure that everything looks amazing. So at Company Folders, we typically have 3 customers. Customer number 1 is a large company. So for example, we service Google, Bed Bath & Beyond. We do a lot of universities. We do Chick-fil-A, Hello Kitty, on and on, right? So companies like that would usually have internal marketing department, and they would have internal designers who know exactly what they're doing, who know exactly what to do. We provide amazing templates with instructions on how to set your art and everything else. So that's number 1. Number 2 customer that we have would be the office manager from a smaller company that is trying to do something on the behalf of the owner, or the owner themselves would be the person instead. And that's when things break usually, because they think that getting the cheapest is the answer. And that's when they try to do their own design and they don't know how to do it. That's when they try to go somewhere else where it might be $10 less, but then they come back and they have to do it right, and so on and so forth, right? And of course, the third customer would be the graphic designer, another printer who doesn't do this kind of job in-house, so they send it to us, or a marketing agency of some sort. And usually those people know exactly what they're doing, so there is never an issue there. So it's that one where it's either the office manager or on the behalf of the owner, or like small company where the owner is talking to us. That's usually when the problems come up.
See, I'm not even one of those 3 that you named. I'm probably the 4th category who just has an idea. I'm like, I want to do this. I love to hand over projects to people and be like, I know you're the professional. You figure it out.
And for people like you, I do design consultations where we talk about your idea and we figure out exactly how to put it to life. And by the way, when we do custom jobs, like when you come to us and you say you want to do something crazy, right? Whether it's folder, or you want business card that's really cool, or you want to make it out of metal, you want to, whatever it might be, right? We'll get that done also.
Oh, so
but
you
that's
do
not our
business
core.
cards? You do business cards as well?
Well, of course, first and foremost, we have to do everything that goes inside the folder, right?
Okay.
Because if you're printing a folder and then you need inserts or a business card that goes in, on the pocket, or you need some kind of brochure that goes with it, or sometimes what we also do is a stitched in brochure, right? So you open the folder, there are two pockets, but in the middle, on the spine, we could actually stitch in a brochure. So now it becomes more of a booklet with pockets on either side, and on and on and on. So yeah, absolutely, we do all of that.
Okay. Well, see, you're going to get a call from me, Vladimir, and it's going to say, I need a brochure.
Sure.
I don't know what I wanted to say. I just know when people receive it, I want them to give me a lot of money.
That's exactly why people call us.
I'm going to go over here to Sanju and I'm going to say, Sanju, I need you to handle all my marketing, all my SEO, all my PR. I don't know what I want my ads to say. I just want people to see the ads and then give me a lot of money.
Well, Sharifah, I don't know if it's a fit. No, I'm kidding.
You say that. You've been dying to say that all day, Sanju. I know it.
Of course. However we can help, we're always happy to.
Absolutely. This has been wonderful. This has been a great show. We are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today. And we're going to start with you, Vladimir.
Well, what I want to tell your guests is that print is the perfect medium for driving engagement because it's more concise, it's more enduring, and less prone to distractions than a digital ad or a TV radio commercial. Sorry, Sanju. And really where we come in is, or I come in personally, is if you have an idea or you know exactly what you want and you want to talk about this, you want to make sure that we could do it right and everything else, go to our website, see what we offer, email me directly at vladimir@companyfolders.com, and we can schedule time to have the design consultation or to have a product consultation or any kind of conversation to really figure out what it is you want to do and how we can get it done for you. The website is companyfolders.com, and all the information is there.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Vladimir. Sanju, what do you have for the people?
I always bring a quote to the end of these ones.
Yes.
And this one's actually perfect. I pulled it out this morning, and I think it's funny how the conversation kind of wrapped around it. So it's, take good care of your reputation. It will live longer than you do. And it's kind of fun to see how a lot of our conversation wrapped around conversation, customer service,
reputation,
right, and ensuring success, right? So I guess what I would leave it with is, if there's any way we can help on the digital marketing space as we all start to recover from the past year and a bit, we do work with companies of all sizes. The website, in short, is au4a.com. Or if you're bored, askusforanything.com. Or you can find us on Instagram at GNL Media. Feel free to reach out anytime. We're happy to help. We're happy to give free consults. And we're always looking for ways to get into new industries and explore different ways of doing things, to kind of take things to the next level and try things other people aren't doing at the moment. So, Vladimir, a pleasure. You've been amazing. We probably will be in touch, I'm sure, over some quality jobs that we need to get done personally on our side. But your nuggets, your wisdom, my friend, on point. And it was truly a pleasure. And obviously, Sharifah, you're the best.
Oh, thank you. I want to thank you both for being guests on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. And I especially want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch this show live, as well as everyone who is watching in the archives. I definitely appreciate your support. But as always, I ask that you not just watch the show and that you not just share the show, but that you support our guests, that you visit their websites, follow them on social media, reach out to them, send them a message. And when you do, please let them know Sharifah Hardie says hi. Now, if you're interested in more ways that I can help your business, or maybe you want to be a guest on the Roundtable Talk Show, please visit my website at asksharifah.com. Until tomorrow morning, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.
Thank you so